Episode 15 from Season 1 of Gotham is called The Scarecrow, and it focuses once again on the character of Gerald Crane and his son Jonathan Crane, the man or young man at this point, who will go on to become the Scarecrow. So it's picking up from the events of last episode. Kind of feels a bit like a two-parter, really. And I gotta say, this is a dark episode. It's probably the darkest episode we've had so far. One particularly violent moment with Fish Mooney, in which she stabs someone with a knife right under the throat, which we kind of see in full Technicolor, you might say. Fish Mooney is trapped in a prison. We don't really get to see the rest of that fight. You know, last episode it ended with her charging towards this man. The two of them were charging towards each other. We don't really get to see that fight or what happened there. Clearly she lost because she wakes up in this prison. But yeah, we don't know where they are. That we don't know why they're being kept there. We just know that somebody ends up with their eyes being taken. That's how the episode ends. It's one of the prisoners, one of the inmates is kind of taken away. She's brought back with her eyes missing. Again, another really dark moment in the episode. Some other bits as well that again, like, we just left me feeling a bit uncomfortable. And I think, you know, they're designed to do so. Is a meeting between Falcone and Maroni, in which Falcone is essentially bargaining with Maroni for Penguin's life. He wants Maroni to back off from Penguin, leave him be. And in order to convince Maroni to do this, he has captured a judge, a very righteous judge that Maroni doesn't like because he's put a lot of his people away, and he's essentially torturing him. And there's some, it looks like some kinky stuff's going on, maybe to take some photos, I would imagine, to blackmail him or whatever. But either way, that whole scene plays really dark emotionally, and it's quite hard hitting, I think. Even though you're not seeing too much, I guess it's just the reaction of these two men, the amount of glee that they're taking from another person's suffering. And again, this points to that fire that I talked about a few episodes ago that has arisen in Falcone. The soft side of him now really does seem to have disappeared. He's in full kind of gang boss mafia mode. He's taking no prisoners. I don't like him like this, and you're not meant to. That's the point. I feel like a lot of his redeeming qualities seem to be disappearing pretty fast. We get a little kind of B plot, C plot with Bruce and Alfred. Mainly it's Bruce following through with this family tradition that he had with his dad, in which they'd climb to this hill, take a stone, put it on this big rock and watch the sunrise. And Bruce says it's something he feels he must do alone, and you can see that Alfred really wants to go with him. You can see that kind of fatherly, protective figure coming out of Alfred once again. And we don't get a lot with these two in this episode, but what we do get, I feel, is quite golden. It's some really touching moments. Bruce injures himself, and Alfred has to go out basically to find him, or at least make sure he's okay. And when he does find him, there's a rather comical moment in which Bruce is climbing up this hill, like literally skull dragging himself up this hill with a sprained ankle. And Alfred's just sat there at the top with a campfire going. He's been waiting for him to come up. He's been sat there for about an hour just watching Bruce come up this hill. And I don't fully endorse ever Alfred's parenting technique, but I do kind of appreciate it, and it does always put a smile on my face. You know, this is clearly the kind of parent that someone who's going to become Batman would need. Someone who allows him to go through challenges, watches over to make sure that he is protected, but not to the point that he doesn't allow him to go through stuff. You know, he lets him go through the valley of the shadow of death, so to speak. So, yeah, only to come out the other side. And that's what I like about Alfred. So, yeah, that's a nice moment with them too. We get, again, like I say, the story with Gerald Crane, in which he's trying to confront this fear he has of fire. It appears his wife had died in a fire, and that's his fear. That's this big fear he's trying to overcome. And there's a few creepy moments involving these visions he sees when he injects himself with this serum that he's been trying to create in order to overcome his fears. And he sees his wife coming down these stairs on fire, and she just looks off. She looks weird because she's just giving him this look. She has this look in her eye like it's blame, like she blames him, and you feel that. And you know, that's, the actress doesn't really get to say a right lot, but she does a lot, I think, with her physicality. She does what is needed, what is required, in a good way, in an effective way. And we're left with Jonathan Crane at the end, you know, the man who will become Scarecrow, in a bed, being absolutely terrified and not really knowing when this is going to stop. And it's quite a dark moment, and kind of sympathetic as well. It makes you feel sympathetic towards Jonathan Crane, and you see the trajectory here from where he's to where he's going to end up, basically, after this rather dysfunctional family that he comes from, his father. One final moment in the episode which I really did enjoy was having the first meeting between Nigma and Cobblepot. They meet in the police station. Cobblepot goes there to give this invitation to Gordon, and for whatever reason, Nigma sees him and feels the need to introduce himself, and that meeting is really, it's just funny seeing two future big time Batman villains kind of coming face to face and having this weird moment in which they're really antagonistic towards each other. And Nigma shows his smarts with a riddle as usual, and Penguin just threatens him and tells him to back off. But yeah, really entertaining moment. Very good episode. I think I'm going to give this a 4.5. Off the top of my head, I can't think of too much I would criticise about it, other than to say that, like I say, a few of those moments do get a little bit too dark for my taste. But beyond that, it is a very good episode. I'll give it a 4.5 out of 5. What about you? Have you seen this episode? And if so, what did you think about it? Comment below, let me know, and until next time, crack in.